Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the February 4th Board of Selectmen meeting here at Memorial Town Hall. I'm calling the meeting to order, and as is always our first course of business, I would ask my colleagues first if anybody has any announcements they want to make.
Nothing, just that candles for the birthday cake continue to be on sale. The sign with the donors listed is being made soon, so anyone who wants to be on that sign, it can be updated later, but you'd be on the first run of the sign, and they're available here. And I know that there's a limited number left, so $25, and here at the treasurer's office, you can buy them.
I have a question. I don't know if you have the information. There is a UMass hockey game at the end of this month.
Yes.
Do you know how people go about getting
There's
tickets?
going to be a link on Facebook, and there'll be a link on the Hatfield 350th website.
Okay.
And if people don't have access to a computer, maybe they could call. They could call me, or you could, if they call Town Hall, you can put them in touch with me,
Okay. I'll do
and
that.
we can figure out how to do that. So,
Thank you.
but that'll be fun. Hatfield, we'd like to have a lot of Hatfield
Right.
people at that game.
Anything else, Diana? Do you have
I think
anything
that's
else?
it. No, I think that's it.
All right. Ed, you're all set?
I'm all set.
Marlene, did you have anything?
Just
an
the
announcement?
gun violence presentation,
sure.
that you can certainly
No, you can,
speak
no,
to that.
you brought it up.
Just, we announced it at the last
We did.
meeting.
We did.
But heads up, and the Northwestern District Attorney's Office is sponsoring a Beyond Gun Laws presentation February 11th at the elementary school from 6:30 to 8:30. So I
Right.
think there'll be a panel. Our police chief will be sitting on that panel.
Yeah, and folks from the DA's office as
DA's
well.
office,
So,
that's right.
yeah. Okay. So that's February 11th at 6:30. I'm sorry, at the elementary school. Okay. There is a snow date, by the way. Not that we're
that's
going to need it, but it would be the following night on Wednesday, February 12th. Okay. Marlene, did you have anything else?
I do now.
Okay, under announcements, I just wanted to make a comment from some emails and different things that have been talked about in town, and it has to do with the Colonial Power and the supplier rates that the town has negotiated on behalf of the town and its residents. One of the concerns, one of the recent concerns was that there were some articles through the Attorney General's office that talked about scams that were taking place at residents and businesses from some supplier power companies. I am here to say that, again, we did our due diligence, like we did up front, by the way, to make sure that Colonial Power was a legitimate supplier, that they are, that Municipal power aggregation is actually promoted by the Attorney General's office, Moriarty's office, and that everything Colonial Power has done and said regarding their rates as a supplier to your electricity bill is on the up and up. So I guess I just wanted to say that out loud in case people are wondering, because it is, the paperwork has already been would have been filled out and submitted by the town residents and businesses, depending on what their decision was. But I will also give you, should you have any questions or change your mind about what you've already submitted, this is Colonial Power's telephone number. So I'll say it twice in case you need to grab a pen and paper. But it's an 866 number, what we used to call an 800 number in the old days. It's 866-485-5858. And once again, that's Colonial Power's residential call center, and they can answer any questions you have regarding your bills. And the number, once again, is 866-485-5858. So I hope that alleviates some of the concerns people had.
I just want to thank people for letting the board know about concerns from Attorney General Healy's office about other scams that were going on. So that's why we're bringing this up, that our Colonial's okay.
Colonial's okay, right, exactly. Thank you, Ed. That's all I have under announcements, other than just our public forum policy. I thought I would say once again. So public participation at Town of Hatfield Select Board meetings and any other meetings of Hatfield boards. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. So, thank you. All right. Speaking of public forum, is there anybody here for public forum? Okay, seeing none, we'll take up our first order of business, which is the approval of minutes, of which we have many.
I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 7th, 2020 as presented.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there, motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. I was not in attendance at the next one, so I will.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we accept two sets of minutes from December 26th. One was an executive session, and the other was an open meeting. Both were on December 26th. So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Thank you.
abstain, Keith.
Okay, we still have.
I will make a motion that we accept the December 17th, 2019 minutes as presented.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion we accept the August 27th, 2019 minutes as presented.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Key. All right. Topic 1 under our posted business. We have some appointments to make tonight, both to the both to the police department and the fire department. But with us tonight, we have Clint here to, I guess, give a little history or a little information regarding the candidate for Hatfield Police Department.
We'd just like to introduce our newest hire, Thomas Gentile. He's going to be working part-time with us. He's currently working now for the Sheriff's Department in Hampden County. The chief and I have discussed Mr. Gentile over the last couple of weeks, and we feel as though he'll be a good fit for our department and the course that we run on a day-to-day basis.
Great. And in looking at Thomas's resume, there you can see a lot of the certifications are right up the department's alley.
Yes.
I mean that's what we're looking for our candidates. So it's nice to meet you, Thomas. We thank you. We do need to make an official vote the appointment as a recommendation from the chief.
I'll make a
From the
motion
staff.
that we appoint Thomas Gentile to the Hatfield Police Department.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. I would also let people know that Thomas goes by TJ.
Right.
I found that out when I introduced myself. So TJ, welcome. The motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to thank you for coming to the Hatfield
Yeah.
Police Department.
Happy to be here, thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to welcome you and thank you. I had a chance to chat with him quite a bit before the meeting and very happy that you're on board.
Great, and I would echo my colleague's sentiment, so thank you. Welcome aboard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Thanks, TJ. Thank you. Thanks, Clint.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Clint.
Okay. We've also got a recommendation from Chief Gahn for 2 positions as firefighter appointments. And also, Bob Flaherty has also indicated his support for these candidates as well. So,
I will make do we just accept these appointments or
I think we
just-
can read the name. Certainly read the
we have
names.
to actually make a motion?
We
of appointing?
do.
Well, they've been appointed.
And the fire chief has the appointing authority
Right, we
pursuant
don't.
to the strong
he
chief's
has-
law.
Right, so it's just to
But
acknowledge
there should
them.
be an acknowledgement by the board
Okay.
that
Yeah.
accepting the.
Well, why would we do it
employment.
for one department and not the other?
It's
Why
just,
would you do what?
Why do we have to approve the police department, but we don't have to approve the fire department?
The fire chief is
The appointing
strong
authority.
chief
I
and is
understand.
the appointing authority.
Oh, okay,
He
so we're
hires-
going to look,
Right.
Okay.
The police chief and other departments don't.
That's a discussion for another day. So, okay, thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it. Why we're not all the same, I don't know. But anyways, so,
There's something about the bylaws too, with,
Yeah.
we have to appoint police officers, and the fire chief can appoint firefighters
yeah,
and police.
yep. Topic for another day. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yes, why don't we just acknowledge
them.
the appointments from Chief
I
Brown.
would like to acknowledge the appointment of Melissa Brown of Hatfield and Hannah Zahn of West Hatfield to the fire department. Very happy to have both. I do not know Melissa, I do know Hannah, but very happy that they've decided to join the department. I think that's great.
Yep, I agree.
I feel strongly and thank them for joining the fire department. I think
Welcome
it's great.
aboard, ladies. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. Excuse me. All right. So topic 3, so the Department of Public Utility report is really, I'm just going to announce that we'll be having a public hearing, a public notice that we're going to be having a public hearing for a proposed water and sewer rate increase. And we will be having that meeting, and it will be posted, not only on TV, but in the newspaper as well. But the Board of Selectmen will hold a public meeting and accept comments on Tuesday, February 18th, at 6 o'clock behind, in the emergency training room behind us in the William Belden Training Room. So any of the residents who want to come and hear the specifics and be part of the conversation regarding the water and sewer rates in the town of Hatfield and some of the upcoming projects that are proposed, that would be a very good night to come. So that's 2 weeks from tonight. It's on February 18th at 6 o'clock behind Memorial Town Hall. So did you want me to add anything else to those comments, Marlene?
Actually, thank you for asking, because I was just going to say the reason for having the meeting back there is because this room will be under construction.
Yeah, it's under construction.
And I apologize, should have said at the start of the meeting that this building will be closed next week, so there will not be public access to this building. And we are making arrangements for anybody interested in purchasing stickers for the transfer station will be able to do it at the facility on 2 consecutive Wednesdays and 2 consecutive Saturdays.
So as long as we're on top.
Facility meaning the transfer station?
Transfer
Okay.
station.
Right, thank you. So we'll put that on the website, I would imagine,
We are.
if we
We're gonna
haven't
put something
already.
in the newspaper and on the town.
Okay, thank you. And,
Can I add something? on
yeah,
this?
please do.
I guess I would just let townspeople know that there was a lengthy discussion on this at our last meeting. Not our last meeting. What do you think the date was of that one? Just so that if people want to
Last
go back
month.
and watch it on
Yep.
YouTube and watch the discussion about
The-
the rate, the proposed rates, and sort of why they're happening, that discussion has already happened. And you can watch it on YouTube on our, I'm not sure what the
Was that
date.
our January 2nd meeting?
No, I
Probably
think
a
it was
month
more
ago.
recent than
Yeah.
that. But
The 21st?
I think
That
it
was
was
our last
probably the
meeting.
21st.
Okay. So that was
Yes, January 21st. So if you look it up on YouTube, you can watch it, and it might be worth, if you have some concerns or you want to know exactly how we reached the decision, there's quite a bit of information on that and a presentation about it. So it might be worth people watching ahead of time.
Thank you. And that's a very good point, because we did have a lengthy discussion. And that discussion was actually based on the water and sewer study that was completed with Prickett Engineering. And Dave was here, as well as one of his colleagues, James, to actually go over things and answer some of the questions that we had. And make the presentation of the whys and whens and that type of thing. And it was a compelling discussion to know that as a community we've got some decisions to make on a go-forward basis regarding the treatment plant and water expansions and things like that. So to Diana's point, I would encourage people to actually come that evening, because that's the public notice regarding the actual potential increases. So it's better to be there and be part of it than watch it on TV after the fact.
Right.
I would watch the previous meeting
That's what I
on
was
TV
referring to, watching the previous
right,
one. So that you,
to get the gist
Yep.
of what the conversation in 2 weeks is going to be about.
right.
Okay. And Marlene, when will, is there an official, like the exact date that Town Hall is going to be closed? Is it the 10th?
Yes, Monday through Friday next week. The
Monday
building-
through Friday. So,
Right.
so if the lights are on, nobody's home.
Town
So
hall will
don't-
not be
okay.
accessible.
Right. Okay.
Well, and we should just again thank employees here for their patience.
Right.
Because it hasn't been easy, but it will be worth it. Worth it, excuse me.
Yes, it will. Okay. Anything else on the water and sewer?
No,
Discussion.
I will be happy to explain again at the rehearing. but
Right,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course.
I do agree with you go back to that hearing and you'll understand why we're going through this. There's a lot involved,
Yep.
and we've been talking about, water sewer for the last few years and before that. And I think we finally actually might have a game plan if the town wants it.
Right.
So,
I would agree, Ed. I think that the last discussion, since I've been on the board, was, excuse me, was probably one of the most in-depth. I mean, it really got into long-range planning and what happens if you make changes now, what happens if you wait, what could
Right.
potentially happen. I mean, it was a very good conversation. And I would imagine that on February 18th, it's going to pick up right where it left off. So I would encourage people townspeople to be there.
It's important for people to hear that there's also good things about the water and sewer, that we have
Oh, yeah.
going on. And so they sort of gave us a real view of
Yep.
the state of our water and sewer
Right.
systems. So it was worth watching again if you have the ability to do that.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else on water and sewer, Diana? Do you have anything else? Okay. Excuse me, Marlene, I think we've moved on to the town administrator report.
Okay, next item. So I have continued to have this on the agenda, potential articles for the town meeting warrant, and
Getting to be that time of year.
it is. So I will be drafting that. I wanted to have a discussion with the board. It has been brought up previously, changing the Board of Selectmen to Select Board. So that is something to consider. There's also some articles that funding articles that I'd like to get cleaned up. There are a couple of articles that authorized funds for town hall, but they were specific to the front entrance. And those projects are complete and there's balances available. I'm going to recommend, rather than close it out, to repurpose the money for the project, the town hall renovations project. Because we know we are seeing some
Change orders
added-
coming
some
through.
change orders,
Yeah,
added costs.
absolutely.
So I'd like to do that. And Bob Wagner couldn't be here this evening, but I told him I would be glad to speak for him. The Community Preservation Committee will be submitting articles for the warrant, and they'll submit their annual budget. They're also recommending $6,725 for the town clerk's vital records restoration project. They're recommending $3,500 to cover legal fees for trail access easement on Horse Mountain, and they have done that previous years. That trail work continues. And they're recommending $36,438 to complete a pavilion at Smith Academy Park. Planning Board is also
Excuse me.
considering some amendments to the zoning bylaws. And by law, the Board of Selectmen either receives a petition or acknowledgement for amended bylaw changes and then forwards them to the Planning Board, so that the Planning Board is required to schedule hearings on those proposed amendments. So they are looking to amend, I think you may have it, so there's 2 items under the use designations and table of use, and that is regarding solar generating systems. I can read that entire
You don't need
paragraph
to.
if you'd like. Okay. The next item is to amend the marijuana establishments, and this is regarding the cultivation of marijuana. And that's
To establish a minimum setback for it.
right, setback minimum. So the Planning Board is looking at scheduling a hearing in March, I believe on March 5th. So if the Board of Selectmen is, regarding the proposed amendments, willing to vote to refer those to the Planning Board for hearings.
I don't have any problem with that. I'll make a motion
Nor do I don't.
to refer these 2 matters to the Planning Board so that they can hold public hearings about them.
Okay.
I'll second
So the motion's made and second. Is there any discussion?
No.
No. And I agree with my colleagues. I mean, that they're the folks that are making the proposal and can speak to it. Then, again, I would suggest the public, if they have any questions regarding that, either of those, to come beforehand, or excuse me, to come before the Planning Board at that meeting. And when did you say? You think it's going to be when, Mark?
March 5th.
March 5th. Okay. So
It's
more to
great that
follow.
they're being proactive about
Absolutely.
these things too, and
Yeah.
instead of,
Okay, so a motion's made and seconded. Is there no further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Great. Okay,
But
thank
the
you.
other, the CPC stuff is just for us to know that it's coming forward, yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, they were on the same sheet, but yes.
Does the board have any interest in discussing changing the Board of Selectmen to Select Board? Is that something
I don't
you
have
can
a-
consider?
No problem.
I don't have a problem changing it.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with changing it.
okay. So I will, an article for that.
So that's an article for
Research-
town meeting, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now look at what, whatever, what the
Others, yeah.
requirements are. I don't know that we have to petition the legislature. Just not certain about that. May just be a town meeting article. And
That would be nice.
And amending the town bylaws, because the town bylaws has a section, Board of Selectmen.
Okay,
So that would have to be changed.
And all our
makes
letterheads.
sense.
That's correct.
Okay. I think it's about time we do that, actually. We're not select men, we're select people, we're select board, that's, so, I think that's a great idea, personally. Okay, and so besides that select board question, and then Bob Wagner's going to have the public hearing, was there anything else, Marlene, regarding potential articles at this point that you wanted to mention?
Other
or-
than repurposing those funding
funds,
articles.
yeah.
And.
Which makes total sense, by the way, that's a very good point.
And as we close out fiscal year 19,
Yeah.
close out the balance sheet, I would like to just review with Justin any other, items out there,
Yeah,
articles,
Sure.
projects that we can close out.
yeah.
And so if we close them out, then that money would just go to the general fund.
Well, and we've got plenty of line items. So let's close out what's not being used anymore, and, because there's just going to be more coming in behind it, right, for new projects and new things.
right.
So I think that's great.
It's healthy to,
Yeah.
on an
Well, if you don't-
annual basis, to look at
And you
any
don't want-
projects and.
And if there's a
what's
good amount of
status.
money, you don't want it just sitting there
That's
doing,
right.
I mean,
It shouldn't be sitting there if it's not necessary anymore, let's just clean it up.
Yep.
Right,
okay.
that's right.
And with our financial health, that's been a problem in the past. Projects going back 10 years, not getting
Yeah,
closed
right.
out. Money's sitting there and everybody's confused. So if it's done, let's
Close
close
it
it
out.
out and
I'm with you.
move along.
Okay.
Oh.
Great. Thank you, Marlene.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Next is
Way?
the Billings Way property. you recall in the past, we have leased that property
We
for
have.
agricultural purposes.
Correct.
And
Yep.
we had an agreement with
One of our local
Harrison
firms.
Bardwell, and so that has expired. And so I will be really, putting
Sure.
out a solicitation for proposals for that property again.
This is behind the cemetery.
Yes.
Yep.
I know when I actually negotiated that purchase back when I was on the board last time, and I know we thought about that we'd be able to use part of it for recreation fields. I don't know if they need anything. I mean, I'm all for Harrison or anybody farming it, but I know that that was part of the reasoning for acquiring that. Obviously for the long-term cemetery use, but in the meantime, the thought was that if they needed more space for playing fields, maybe they're good.
Okay,
It
That-
might be worth checking with
Checking with
recreation just
Recreation.
before we.
I'll do that.
Yeah, and that had been brought up, I'm not sure exactly, in the last few years, Diana. And at the time, the town was all set, which doesn't mean the recreation department was all set, which doesn't mean it hasn't changed, but, things change. But that also came up when we were talking about having the
Community
the
gardens.
community gardens back there, and that all worked out as well, so. But yeah,
Easy
I
enough
think
to
it's
just
best to
check.
check. Easy
Just
enough to
check.
check, yep.
I'm sure that they're probably set, but
Absolutely. No, good point. All right, thank you. Any, do you have any?
any of the three uses are great. Community
Right.
gardens, farming, or recreation.
Recreation, absolutely. That's what we want, open space. Ed, did you have anything to say, Ed? Okay. Financial.
Is there anything we need
sorry.
to do on that?
No.
Okay.
On the Billings Way property?
Sorry, I didn't
No.
mean
It's okay.
no, there isn't. No. Just wanted to make sure that the
Right, and I
is
think
aware of
legally
that.
we've got to
And just
do
put
the
it
solicit.
out
you're
there
right,
that, yeah,
right.
just in
Yep.
case anybody in town is interested, but we will be advertising.
Okay, thank you, Marlene.
You're welcome.
All right, the update regarding the county services?
So the agreement with Mellons and Heath was returned to them. I have been in touch with Pat Scalante, and actually, she was just in touch with the Treasurer Collector's Office, so we're getting them access to Vadar, and they will be working with Diane Avery, who oversees our
Yes.
AP
Yep,
warrants.
great.
And I actually had communicated with Justin yesterday, just waiting for a response from him. I had asked Mellons and Heath if they might be interested in working with Justin.
Yep, to wrap that up.
Coordinating effort to close out
Sure.
19.
Yep.
So they're willing to do that.
I would think Justin would be on board as well, to do the handoff. Okay, great.
And the treasurer's, so Justin was just waiting on the treasurer's office to take a look at.
Yeah, I saw the particular.
The debt
yep.
statement and approve it, so
Yep.
they are all set. And so I think maybe we'll be talking to Justin the end of this week.
Great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Regarding financial updates, the town was awarded a grant and I don't need to get into it a whole lot at this point, but the town clerk is here. We have some contracts that need to be signed, but I think we're just about ready to
Yeah,
close out our regular session here. So I don't know if you want to wait until the end of the meeting to do that, or take that up now? The contract is, I have it
oh,
here.
sorry, okay. Lydia's here, why don't we do it now? So first off, I'd like to thank Marlene, because Marlene ran point on this grant that we received. And we're not trying to be sneaky or anything, but it's another one of those, don't really,
They want to make the press
from the
release.
State Department, or from the
The information is
state.
embargoed.
Embargo, that's the word I was looking
that's-
for, thank you. So we can't get too into it other than, but I did want to give Marlene credit for spearheading this. I've got to sign off on it with my colleagues' approval to do the paperwork and get it back to the state so they can do what the state does.
right.
And then make the announcement.
And then we'll make the
And then-
announcement.
right,
Yep.
right.
And we aren't, and other communities fall into this as well. And this was very similar with the last grant we got for $2 million, the Mass Works grant. We couldn't really say much about it, but until they tell you, you can. But
On the first page, it's the chair's signature.
you want to watch me do this?
I don't think she needs to witness that signature, but that's okay.
I'm not
To be witnessed.
And the other documents is,
Lydia to witness
so
me.
you need to authorize somebody for the contractor, which is the town of Hatfield, to sign
Need to, like,
contract
authorize
documents.
Brian
Better do
to
that
sign.
before I sign it.
It could be Brian who does all
I'll make a
that,
motion that
Or
we
it could be the
up-
town administrator,
Oh, it
too.
doesn't matter, to me. Well, then I'll stop signing. Doesn't matter
No,
to me.
that, you still have to sign, though.
Got
You
it.
have to sign as the board.
Authorizing.
Oh, the permission, we went through this on the last one, I remember that, names over
So
here
there's
and there.
one,
So,
the last page.
Yep.
I would have to fill it out,
Yep, all right, so why don't,
but there's,
So my motion is to authorize
the town administrator.
the town administrator to be able to sign
Sign.
on behalf of the town going forward on this.
This
Grant,
grant
okay.
application. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you, Marlene, thank you, Diana, and Ed,
And there's
okay,
another one for your signature.
all right. Do I have a separate pen for me?
That one, I think, is,
It's the big one.
Marlene.
Here's the big one. Here it is, Lydia.
So my name has to get filled in that box, right?
So who signs the very last one? I only signed 2 pages.
Right, I think I do.
Okay.
So I think
The last
my
page
name
looks
has
pretty
to be
official or
right.
something to,
So there's no witness there's no witness there, so it's really your signature as your witness. I mean, I have to be here.
You have to witness mine.
look
well,
how
other than
much fun-
seeing us.
look how
I
much
mean,
fun you're
I-
having.
Have the ball.
Well, thank you for being here, Lydia.
Yes, thank you.
Better safe than sorry, you know.
Well, what I said to you, I wasn't sure, they may decide to name somebody else, and
No way, Marlene, it's you.
and if that was the case, then you would need to be here.
Management 101, delegate.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there anything in there for us?
No, this, by the way, was just the appointment of, that we voted on for TJ.
I'm going to date this, it is today. I'll fill that in tomorrow. Oh, why did I do that? Okay. Thank you.
You ladies all set with that?
All set.
All right, Lydia, thank you, Marlene. All right, so now we're under continued old business, I believe, unless there was something else on your report that I skipped over inadvertently.
Nope.
Okay. So, speaking of Colonial Power and the municipal aggregation enrollment, they do have an update that they have sent out to us, and we will get these quarterly. The board will, just for how many people have registered, how many people have stayed, how many people may have changed their mind and opted out to continue with just Eversource. And so I'm not going to read this whole sheet, but I will tell you that what came from Colonial Power was, please see below for the town's enrollment figures to date. This was as of Monday, the 27th of January. The opt-out percentage, which is almost 12%, it's 11.9, is pretty indicative of the norm, which is typically 8 to 10% or so as of late. That means that the people who opted out had chosen to stay with Eversource as the supplier of the electricity, as well as being the parent electric company, which either way, Eversource stays as the parent electric company.
Eversource isn't the supplier.
I know.
Eversource, you just
Well,
have to
the-
stay, and
well, it's a-
whoever Eversource picks as a supplier.
Yes, well,
Sorry.
that's okay, thanks. So, as I said, Colonial Power Group was the option, otherwise you stay with the supplier that Eversource has chosen. So the original enrollment list was 1,696. The opt-out was 202, which, as I just stated, was about 12%. A handful of people won't be enrolled because the mail didn't get delivered. Some were closed out because the account was no longer open, and 4 people actually opted in after the fact. So when all was said and done, that we have 1,696 residents and businesses that could have participated. 1,465 are participating with Colonial Power as their supplier on their electric bill. So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe more information anybody really wanted to hear, but it's 88% of the residents and businesses have chosen to take advantage of the lower rate that was offered by Colonial Power.
It's worth mentioning.
And again, if anything, if people change their mind, they want to call Colonial Power, the number to contact is 866-485-5858, and they'd be able to answer any questions or make any changes to your service that you're looking to do. Yeah, anything else on that?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, Ed, you're up, man, you and Marlene. So Town Hall building renovations update, if you don't mind.
As Marlene mentioned.
Someday this won't be an agenda item. Have you stopped to think about that?
I
Not
have.
for a while, but
We do have
Till
an
we get to phase 3.
We do have an updated construction schedule. So they're pretty much on target
Need a
for a
magnifying
completion
glass.
date of 5/1, which would be punch list closeout. As you're aware, February 10th, the building's going to be shut down to the general public so they can put the sprinkler lines in up on the first floor
for the whole week.
for the whole week. And they already started piping downstairs. The elevator is being installed. They actually have the runners going up and down for the elevator, and they already have a platform installed. So it's
happening.
it's happening. So the elevator is moving along.
Great.
Sprinkler is moving along. Power's been energized. The problems with Eversource and Verizon finally worked out where now they have normal power, 600 amp service in here. And so on the contractor side, they seem to be moving. I mean, the big discovery was downstairs when they opened up the floor. We
Yeah.
found all the piping.
Pipes.
That was a big surprise.
Yep.
So that was, and there's been a few other things that have popped up. There was wiring that was code violations, and there was, unfortunately, and there was some issue with the sink. The plumbing inspector wanted some changes made, and so, I mean, it's typical project where they come across things that are what'll cost overrun, so.
When you start taking out walls and looking behind things and under floors, you find things
Don't know
that
what
you
you're
don't
going to
see,
find,
you know.
yeah.
It's an
so
old building.
Until you're in there, right.
And actually, this project, if you think about it, looking at everything I've looked at, it started in 2012, and this project has sort of been behind the 8 ball the whole time because of the fact that every time they've gone to finally get the prices and go to the town to get the funding, the codes have changed or the prices have changed.
Right,
And it's never been catching up.
right.
I mean, when this project was started, they did not require a fire pump because they had adequate water service. And then when the project came to start, we had to put a fire pump system in.
Right.
And the other thing is the elevator now requires a sump pump outside for any, like, if you have a sprinkler system, the pit fills or hydraulic gets lost. I mean, so that was another cost. And then the code changed, it needed venting, so we've always been trying to catch up. But finally,
Right.
we've caught up. So it's going to cost a couple more pennies, but that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
Well, and on the other side of that, Ed, we've also had the state, because we had agreed that by a certain date, we would have the fire, the handicapped accessibility and the fire suppression
Right.
in, and that had been extended along with those other problems. fortunately had been extended for the town 2 or 3 different times, which is a couple of years, a few years. So, it's nice to see that I think we're seeing the light at the end of that
And then
tunnel.
then at the special town meeting for the 2 articles, one did not pass, so that now had to have the architect do all new
There's-
construction
it's just-
documents.
right.
That was another 30 grand. I mean, unfortunately, those are things that pop up.
Kind of the
so.
nature of the business that get you, that you don't necessarily anticipate.
But the end is in sight.
The end is in
And
sight.
is in sight.
Great.
Well, thank you. It's
ahead.
really nice that you, really spearhead watching over
Yep,
this on
I
behalf
agree.
of the board, and I appreciate it very much.
Yep, I agree. Thank you.
And Marlene.
It's helpful to have Ed there and
Yeah.
the background he has from UMass. So yes, it's excellent having him
It's
at the
been,
table.
it's been an interesting project, finally getting a project done that's been going on for, 8 years? 8 or 9, so finally, and getting it code compliant,
Right.
getting the Architectural Access Board happy, actually getting a ramp in the back, making people happy. The next thing will be COA determining what we want to do down there. Because we don't want people coming back the way it is.
Right.
We can finally do something nice down there
Yeah.
in the meantime, because they did say they're going to be here another 5 or 10 years, so
Yep,
we can make it presentable. So,
agreed, great.
Great, thank you very
Thanks,
much, Ed.
I think once it all comes together, it's going to look very nice.
Yeah,
I agree.
thank you, Marlene.
Yep, thank you.
And again, the employees for their patience.
Yeah, that's,
Hasn't been easy.
it's sort of, it's tough with construction, because there's
It
noise,
is.
there's dust,
Right.
and it's
Disruption to schedules.
disrupts
and
people's lives, and it's there's concerns.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Anything else?
no, I don't know if
Yep.
Marlene has anything else.
no, I don't.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's time.
Was there any other any other unanticipated new business to discuss this evening?
No.
Okay.
Can I make a quick
Oh.
announcement while I've got the TV?
Okay with me?
Thank you. I just wanted to let everyone know that the voting for the primary, which is March 3rd, will be over at the fire station in their conference room because of the construction at the town hall. And also there's early voting for the primary, which is going to be the week before, February 24th, February 25th, and February 27th. And early voting will also be over at the fire station due to the construction. So I'm going tomorrow to get a bunch of signs to put out all along Route 5 and the major, to indicate that too, so,
Okay.
all right.
Can you tell me, what is the last day to register to vote in the primary?
February 12th.
Okay, so next
And-
week.
And
Next
then
Wednesday?
Yeah, next Wednesday, and I didn't realize the town hall was gonna be completely closed, so I've gotta figure out where the last day of voter registration is gonna take place. So there'll be a notice on the front door saying where you can go to register to vote. But typically, in the 7 years I've been here, legally I'm required to be open from 9 in the morning till 8 at night.
What is the advertisement on
Everybody,
TV
you can vote
about?
on, you can register online, you can
Right, I
register
mean,
by.
Smartphone?
Smartphone, they're
There's
talking
now
online.
automatic voter
Secretary, yeah.
registration. If you do anything at the Registry of Motor Vehicles and a couple other places, you automatically get registered to vote. So we constantly have duplicates, because you have to actually opt out of registering to vote now. So, yeah, so we've got to, yeah. It's a good thing we catch a lot of people that, moved into town and didn't bother to tell me, so that's helpful.
Right.
But, anyway.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the info, and so you will have something posted for that? Okay. All right, thanks, Lydia. Did you have anything else you wanted to?
I'm good.
Okay. So at this point, we'll be going into an executive session and not returning to public session. So I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Number 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. This will be a roll call vote.
Jaworski, aye.
Moriarty, aye.
Zinal abstain.
Right. Okay. So we'll be going, John, thank you. We'll be going to executive session and not returning to public session.
Thanks, John.